In today's video, you're going to be learning how to completely cover a very hard surface like a dryer ball. You're going to learn how to take some core wool and make a shape just as hard as the dryer ball. And then you're also going to be learning some really cool techniques, how to flatten the wool and make it almost like a piece of felt. And then we're going to learn how to do spots today that look very natural. You're going to learn how to do depth on items that you add, like wings, eyelids, and the tail. So we're definitely going to learn all of that. You're going to be a pro at owls in no time, and I hope you join me and have a wonderful time making this owl with me. Hi everybody, this is Kathy with More Fun with Felt. Welcome back. I am super excited today because I'm going to show you today how to make this adorable little owl out of dryer balls. So let me go ahead and show you everything that you're going to need to get started. And today's video, I'm going to try to make it as easy for you to watch and follow along as possible. So I'm going to explain to you what to do, and then I'm going to do it, speeding it up for you, and then come back and explain the next part. So we'll divide it up into some sections, okay? So what you'll need today is a dryer ball that I'm going to put the link to in the description of the video. I get these on Amazon. I buy them in a pack of 24. I have one here, but it's a little bit lopsided. So for this purpose, I'd rather find one a little bit more round. This one's pretty good. And these dryer balls, they're about 3 inches in diameter, right around there. It's very, very firm felt. So it's already a really good base for you, and all we have to do is cover this and add the head, wings, and you know, everything else, the feet, etc. So the next thing you're going to need is core wool. For this project, carded core wool is going to work best for you, so you're going to need that. You are going to need a white. This is Winter White by Living Felt. You're going to need a base color. For this one, I'm going to do a version of this brown for you. So the base color here is Milk Chocolate. This is by Living Felt. And then you're going to need a dark color. This is Coffee Bean. It's from Serafina Fiber Art. It's one of their core wool colors. You're going to need some blending colors and some accents. This is one of my favorites to use. It's called Timber. It's one of the landscape lots. Look how beautiful that is, from Serafina Fiber Art. It's absolutely beautiful. And you'll also need a lighter color for, again, accents. We may do the feet with this, the eyelids with this, the beak. I'm not sure on this one. Whatever the wool wants to happen is what's going to happen today. So, but this one is called Caramel. This is also by Living Felt. Let me show you in the series some of the other ones that we'll be doing after today's video. So this, of course, is the other owl that I started with. So you're going to make a version of this today. We'll also be doing a little chicken on our next video. And then after that, a little cat. It may or may not look exactly like this. Again, I kind of let the wool dictate what happens, but we will be making a cat with a dryer ball base. And then after that, I'm working on a design for a caterpillar, a fuzzy caterpillar. So it's going to be super, super fun and super cute. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you like and subscribe if you want to make sure you don't miss those, okay? So the next thing that you're going to be needing is your needles. So I have here today several to choose from, and I may or may not be using all of them, but as I use them, I'll tell you what I'm picking up. But I do have to choose from here today. I have my clover punch tool. I have a clover pen tool that doesn't actually have needles in it right now. If you have one of these, it's perfectly fine to use. I have a Poquito tool that I got on Living Felt website, and this is what I'm using today in place of the Clover pen. It has two 42 triangles in it. This is also just a spare 42 triangle. This is a 38. This is a 36. A couple of 40s. And another 38. So that's what I have in needle choices. You may need some scissors. You may need a ruler if you want to follow along with me on sizes and dimensions. And then, of course, a felting mat. If I forgot anything, I'll definitely mention it as we go. So the first thing that we're going to do is take your primary color and you're going to cover your dryer ball. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up for you, but just to get the idea, basically you're just going to go ahead and get, a pretty, decent thickness, and we're just going to go ahead and cover the entire dryer ball, pulling pretty tightly as we go around. And to do this kind of quickly, a punch tool or a multi-needle tool like the Poquito would work well for you. If you don't have those, you can definitely use a 38 or a couple of 42s in your hand to cover this, okay? So I'm going to cover it and then I will come back. So now what I'm going to do is I've got it primarily down. I'm going to go ahead and take my two 42 triangles and just go over it briefly one more time just to get this a little bit more firm on the ball. Okay, so you can see that I did that just by rotating and stabbing in a very close little section, one section at a time, and I just kept turning and stabbing until I covered the entire surface. It's a pretty good start for me now, and if you see any little bits of white on yours, don't worry about that because you can always cover that with a wing or the head or the white on the tummy. No, don't worry about it. If it doesn't end up getting covered, we can always just put a little patch later on. Okay, so the next thing that we're gonna do is the head. And what we're looking for on the head is we're looking for about 3 inches across on both of these guys, and about 2 to 2.5 inches tall. I am going to draw a picture on the screen of exactly the shape that we're looking for. Right now we're just looking for the basic shape, and then you're going to get your core wool. Start with a pretty decent size. So I'm going to go ahead and start. This is 11 by 6. I'm going to start with this, and I'm going to start rolling it as tightly as I can and compacting with, I'm going to start with my 36. So I'm going to use my 36 and roll it, gradually moving towards the shape that you see on the screen, okay? Okay, so now that I got the base, I just rolled it up, folded the two ends in, and sort of felted that together with my 36. Now I'm gonna take another piece, wrap it up, and do it again. This will probably end up being enough. If it's too much, we can always pull some off. But this one is 15, and at the widest, almost 5, and then almost 4. So you can see it's not an exact science. It's just, you know, pull what you have and just start making the shape. Okay, so now I am just sort of sizing it up. I can see that I'm about 3.5 inches by 2. And that's gonna be okay because we are gonna fit it on here and we're gonna squish it in just a little bit. So once I squish it in, I am going to most likely hit my 3, see? So it's okay if you're a little bit bigger. I'm gonna just try to get this down a little bit more before I put it on the top of the ball, but this is definitely the shape that we're looking for. I'm gonna pick up my 38 and just continue forming it. I'm gonna measure it again. It's definitely more in the shape. I think I'm gonna hit it with a multi-tool, like the 242s, just to further knock it down just a little bit. You can also pick up in this situation, you can also pick up 238s if you want, which are right here, and you can hold them together in your hand, and that also helps your work go faster. 38s are stronger than the 42s. All right, it's much tighter. Can't really squish it too much anymore. Still right around the same size, and that's fine. We are gonna go ahead and take the bottom, place it on. I'm gonna show you at this angle, but I'm gonna felt it at this angle. So we're gonna go ahead and squash it, and then we're gonna felt around the bottom edge. And I'm gonna do that with the 36 all the way around the bottom, just to really get, you know, a really good tight fit. And then once I get all the way around the bottom, then I'll start, you know, working on the head. Okay, so now that we attached the head to the base, you can see with the measurements we got exactly what we needed. So 3 by 2, it's exactly what we're looking for. And I do have some gaps here that I am going to want to fill in. So I'm just going to pull a little bit of core wool and make some pillows to do that. This is about 4.5 by 3. And I'm just going to gently roll it, fold it just a little bit on the ends, and then use my 36. Okay, so now that I made my little pillow, I'm just gonna go ahead and attach it where this big hole is here and do the same thing around the edges with the 36. All right, that's gonna be good enough. That's gonna actually give us a really good base for the bottom of the face here. And let's go ahead and turn him around, and then we will cover the back of his head, making sure that we give him this little widow's peak at the front. So we're going to make a triangle and come back to the back of the head. You can go ahead and do that using your 38. I'm going to take just a little bit more and emphasize that peak in the front. Once you get it all down with your 38, it is going to be pretty lumpy and bumpy. So what you'll want to do is take your punch tool and go over the entire surface of the brown with your punch tool. Okay, so now it's a little bit flatter and smoother, and we're just going to follow up with our 242s, just like we did on the body. Great. Okay, so now we are going to work on the face. I want to look at these two faces really quickly with you. They are both just a little bit different. You're going to see that they both have the white. His white is a little bit lower, and then I gave him a trim with some of the timber. And then his white is a little higher, and it's his entire face structure is all the white. So you can do it either way that you want. If you don't want all white, you'll bring the white just to a little bit above the eyelids. So go ahead and get your winter white. One of the easiest ways to do this is to get a piece that's big enough to cover your face and overlap the brown. So I'm going to have a little bit of extra there. Just if you are measuring, this is about 5 by 3.5 to 4. And what I want to do is just tack it right along the core wool. I'm going to work on getting it adhered to the core wool first, and then we'll shape. So to do this, I am gonna go ahead and pick up my 38. And fold under. Go to the other side before you do the top. So now on the top, I have a lot of excess. I'm stuck down all the way around, like to the cheek areas. And then I have a lot of excess. So my eyes are gonna be right here. And what I'm gonna do is, right now I'm kind of looking at this one. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna roll this down all the way across to the bottom of my, right to the tip of my widow's peak here. And I am not gonna go to the very bottom of it. I'm just gonna sort of go to right in this area here. Okay, and then I'm gonna take my 38 and I'm just gonna tack it right there. Maybe a little bit of it, like maybe a ½ inch line right there. Okay, then I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna push with my fingers. I'm gonna push up, and so that's gonna give me a little bit of a bulk here. I'm gonna tuck that under and then just start felting that in right around the brown. I'll show you that again on the other side. So let me show you that again. So basically I have my open piece. I'm going to take my thumbs and I'm just going to push from the bottom up just to get the air out of this piece and push all the excess wool up to the top. Then I'm holding it down still. I'm going to tuck this under and tack it in. Right along the brown. Okay, and I'm just going to keep using my fingers, my thumbs actually, to push the excess wool towards the top. Now I'm going to use my 38 to start making a spot for the eyes. Just going to start like a little eye socket here. One on the right and one on the left. Okay. So now I just want to start encouraging this ridge along the bottom, this ridge along the top, and the eye sockets. So we're working on the bottom, the top, and the eye sockets. The way that you point your needle is the way that the wool is going to go. So just to give you an example of that, if I start here and start pointing it down from where the eyes, the eyes are going to be, it's going to start building this ridge along the bottom. So I'm naturally going to be building that ridge. And if I come from the bottom and go up, it's doing the same thing. It's basically creating like a round surface right there. Okay, and I'm going to do that all the way around. Take your hands and use them to sort of smooth it out, shape it the way that you want it to go. A little bit of excess there. I'm going to take my 242s and hit that gently. You definitely want to be gentle along this ridge. You can do the same thing all the way around with my 242s. Okay, so I have a pretty good start. It's rounding up for me. Both on the bottom and around the eyes. I'm going to go back to my 36 because I really want to establish my eye sockets. So you're going to want to start with the bottom and just kind of go across. You can make them as big as you want or as small as you want. I personally love the big eyes on all of my little creatures. So I tend to go big. And it is a sleepy owl, so we're emphasizing the eyelid. Okay, I'm going to skip a little spot because I don't want to do them right next to each other. So I'm going to skip maybe 1/4 to 1/2 inch. It's about 1/2 inch actually. And then I'm going to make this one. You can see as I'm felting up into this white, it's continuing to form this little ridge for me. It's just doing it naturally. Go across the surface of the eye. Okay, so this is a pretty good ridge right here that I have going. Right here, it's a little bit big for me, so I want to go ahead and start knocking that down just a little more. I do want to do it gently, so I'm going to take my 242s and just start hitting that down a little. There's a little piece of vegetable matter in there. You can also still see some of the core wool coming through, and that's okay because we are gonna get some more winter white and cover that up in a moment. You can really see how each one of them has their own character and personality. So this one's not going to be like any of the others. They never come out. I can never do two the same. He's going to develop into his own little character. Anytime you go along that ridge, just go very, very softly, because we're not trying to squash it down, we're just trying to shape it now. Okay. All right, let me grab a little bit more winter white. Okay, so I have to go get a little more of that. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cover, before I get my eyes in, I'm gonna go ahead and cover this bottom ridge. I'm just gonna pull a little piece. This is just enough to sort of cover across the bottom of that because I do have some core wool showing through. And I'm gonna do this with my 242s. Same fashion from the bottom up and then from the top down. I like it to be really fuzzy so there's no join to cover. It's just going to blend really well. Okay, Later we'll have a beak right here, so that'll make that indent. And I feel like the eyes, it's a pretty good size eye socket. I really like them big, so even stretching that out maybe a little more. Okay, so now you have to decide what color you want your eyelids. I could go with the chocolate, milk chocolate. I could use this caramel that I have, which is very pretty, but I do want to use that on the feet and also maybe the beak. I don't know about doing the eyelids with this. Timber. Let's go ahead and try that. And then I think the black will show up really good on that. So these pulls, I'm gonna separate them a little bit to make them even. These are about 3 inches, not including the extra fuzz, about 3 by 1. Never count that extra fuzz. You're gonna take it and you're just gonna shape the eyelid on your mat. Does not have to be super perfect. Take your 242s very gently. You really don't want to stab deep into the mat. You're just going to very gently just start making that shape just by pulling the wool in with the tips of the needle. I just kind of like to gather it together on the back. And you can see it's just a straight line and a curve. It's kind of like a, if you look at it this way, it's kind of like a D or a C, depending on which way you're looking. Oh, that's going to be so pretty. Look at that. Okay, so now it's too big, and that's fine. Fold it, fold the bottom, put that right along the base there. And go ahead and take a 40 now. This is a 40 spiral, no. This is a 40 triangle. So go ahead and take a 40 and just lightly tack it right along the base, making sure you stop where you want it to stop. Okay, and then put the rest of it up, kind of push it into that socket and tack it at the top of the socket. And then just use your 40 to shape it to fill that eye socket. Remember, this is a closed eyelid. When you do it like that, it really gives it dimension. See how it's kind of puffing out? So I like to make it too big and then fit it in. Okay, we'll go back over that with 242s in a moment. Let's go ahead and make the next one. So now I just want to look at both of them, and I want to make sure that, you know, they're symmetrical. If something's a little too big, I'm going to pop it in. And then once I get them the way that I like them, I'm going to take the 242s and I want to gently start from the top, and I'm really going lightly. I like the mound that I have, so I don't want to smash it, but I do need to felt it. So we're going to lose a little bit of that air, but we'll still have, you know, a pretty good eyelid surface here. And just really hitting it gently, little even pokes. I changed the angle of my needle because I saw that this was a little bit bigger here. So again, the way that you poke is the way that your wool is going to go. If you want it to go a certain direction, you need to aim your needle that way. Super cute. There. So let me show you from the side. We definitely like the dimensions, different levels. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is the ears. I'm going to go ahead and pull two little pieces, about 2 by 1, maybe 1.5 by 1. And I'm going to take them, really just going to roll them up. It's going to be the best way to start that. Roll them up. You can take your 38, just kind of go across the surface, trying to keep it in a cylinder shape. You don't have to hit it too hard. Roll it in your hands. Focus more on the center than the ends. Okay, and then take that, fold it over, and then going down. I don't want to go this way. I want to go through both of them. So lay it flat and then turn it over and just felt that together. Okay. Then you're going to take this and you kind of open up the bottom, put it where you believe that ear needs to go, which is a little bit over to the outside edge of the face, and then gently tack it into the white that you already have there. This is the 38 that I'm using. And I just want to hold it there. I'm not going to do a complete felt right now. So it's there. I'm going to go ahead and do the other one. And tack this one on as well. To make sure that they match. Okay, now I'm going to take my 242s and I'm just going to very gently go over this, the front, the sides, and the back. Okay, and then we have some rough spots just from the attachment. So we're going to go ahead and take some fuzz, literally fuzz, and just place it over anything that looks rough to you and felt it in. I'm going to take my needle and drag it along this outer edge just to clean up any of the little loose fibers. And shape it up a little bit. Okay. Okay. All right. So now we need a little piece of black. I have one around here somewhere. It's a little tiny piece. Don't need much. It's like a pinch, really. And I'm just gonna draft it out. I broke it into two. I'm gonna draft it out. This one may be enough for both of the eyelids. We'll see. I'm just pulling very, very gently with my fingers and then rolling. I want a nice thick, kind of like an eyelash line right here. And between the two colors, that contrast is absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna put my hand down, my thumb really quick and pull. And I think I will have enough just with that little tiny pinch for both of the eyelids. I'm gonna make sure I have a sleepy eye, so I need like a little dip. Don't do it straight. And I wanna use my 40, if I can find it, yeah. Okay, and I'm gonna put my thumb on the center, and I'm just gonna come up kind of halfway up that eyelid, and I'm just gonna tack it right there. And then I'm gonna come up to the other side, again, halfway up, and I'm gonna tack it right there. Okay, so now I have my curve. I wanna continue holding the part that I'm not really felting, and I wanna felt down, and I'm felting right in the center of this. So I wasn't going up or down, I was just kind of going right in the center to get a nice curve. Here's the other piece. I'm gonna do the same thing. You can use these sleepy eyes for any animal that you make. They're just so cute. Okay, let's do the beak. I'm gonna use the caramel, and I'm just gonna pull a little tiny pinch again, just a teeny little pinch, about the same size as we did for the eyes, or the eyeliner. And I'm gonna roll it up. This time I'm not drafting it out, I'm just kind of rolling it in place. I'm going to do the same thing that we did for the ear, fold it over and stab it. Flip it over and stab it again. Okay, and then the loose ends I'm not too worried about. I want the thickest part at the top. You don't want it up here. You kind of want it towards the bottom here, underneath the eyes, sort of right where the bottoms of the eyes start. And I'm going to take my 40 and I'm going to take the top of that and just tack that. Just need to get it in there. And just go on either side and tack either side. We don't want to flatten it right here. We're just trying to keep the height, if you can see the height. Hold it in your hand and come to the bottom, right where it meets that brown, and just tack that down. So now I have a good little ridge, and I'm just gonna go on one side and then the other. Just tack it along the edge. And that's about all it takes. Perfect. Okay, he's looking really cute. All right, so now what we need is some wings. And let's go ahead and bring in the coffee bean. I'm gonna pull, this is about, I wanna say 3.5 if I squish it up, 3.5 by 3. I'm just gonna pull that and then I'm going to divide it. I'm gonna flatten it out. And then I'm gonna use my 38. Actually, to do this, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna pull my top back because I have my browns under here and I really like to keep a clean piece of felt on top. So, same thing. So we're just gonna put it down and make the outline of a wing, and then go ahead and just fold the outside into the outline. Again, this does not have to be perfect, just a little wing shape is all you need. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take our timber and I'm gonna put just a little right across the top. This is a flat surface, so I'm gonna use the punching tool. Punching tool is perfect for making flat things like feet, wings, fabric, all of that. Okay, that's all I'm gonna do. Now I'm gonna go ahead and adhere it. So you have a choice here. If you want a turned head, like we did here, then your wings are gonna go in a different spot. So for this turned head, we actually put one wing under his cheek and then the other wing behind his cheek. And it looks like he's tilted his head. I did the same thing on this one. So I think on this one, I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to just do a regular, like he's facing forward. So go ahead and just pinch that right up underneath the right side of his chin. take your 38, and I just like to scrunch it and pop it in. Right under that chin and towards the back of the head. Okay, then as this wing comes down, go to the bottom, tack that down, and then keep it, we're doing sort of the same thing that we did with the eyelid. We're keeping it puffy so that we have some dimension. So I'm gonna felt around the edge, just keeping it kind of cupped like this. Same thing over here. I'm just going around the edge, sort of towards the inside of the wing, but I'm on the edge, felting into the ball. Okay, I can pull this down now. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing on this side. It's gonna go in the same location. Now this guy's facing forwards. Tack the bottom. And then the outside edges. This is the easiest way I've ever found to do wings. And I love how they look. They really look much more natural than if I had just completely felted it off the owl. Okay, so now you're going to take your 242s and we're going to do exactly what we did with the eyelids. Sort of start from the top very gently. We just kind of have to make it all combine now. Just go across the surface of the wing. Okay, pretty good. All right, let's go ahead and do his belly. For the belly, you're gonna take some white, just very, very teeny pinches, and you're just gonna kind of strategically place it. I just try to like to make them kind of even, but yet not, you know, a straight line. Just put an equal amount across. Try to make them all about the same size of a pole. And I just lay it there. Nothing fancy about this. I take my 242s and I just kind of go in the center first and then just around that frayed edge. Focus in the center and then the frayed edge. It's going to make it look a little bit wispy. And you'll be able to see the white in the center. And the frayed edge looks so pretty against the brown. That is my guinea pig telling me it's dinner time. If you can hear him, I'm not sure if you can hear him. Okay. All right. So that's really good. So now we have to do a tail, and we're going to do it exactly the same way. We'll take some of this coffee bean. This is about 3 by 2.5. I'm going to kind of push the top together so it's almost like a triangle, just fanning the bottom out, pushing the top together. Actually, I'm going to move this again. I try to be strategic with my felt overlays, because this is what my mat looks like, and I just like to try to preserve the felt pieces. The only time you ever should be stabbing into your mat is when you're doing something flat like this. So I just rolled that up a little bit just to give myself a rounded edge. I'm going to take some of my timber again. This time I'll probably do a little bit more than we did before. And let me punch it. Okay, turn them over. And this is what I was talking about before. If you see some white, you don't have to worry about it. You're going to take that part that kind of goes up into the top of the triangle and felt that down. It's okay if it goes high, because it's also coloration. It's going to blend. And then we're going to roll the bottom under, roll these edges under, use your 38, and we're going to tack it just like we did the wings. When you do this, it just really gives you dimension, and I really like that. Go around the outside. I'm going to tip it up so you can see, but you don't normally want to felt off the mat. Okay, and now I'm just going to make some lines with my 38. It's so puffy, I can make lines. Just like that. And you have a tail. Okay, the next is going to be the feet. Okay, so we're doing really good on our owl. All we have to do now is add the feet and then do a once over just to refine everything. He's looking really cute. I'm super glad that this is the one that I did on film for you, because I love him. I think he's my favorite out of all three so far. So I'm going to set him aside and bring this guy over here. So these are the feet that we're going to be doing. Pretty simple, just simple little feet that we're going to put on the bottom. And the way that we're going to do that is to take your color that you choose. I'm using caramel again. And we're going to do a 2 by 2 square. Should be about 2 by 2. So you're going to do that for both. Let me go ahead and fold this back again. This is a good little trick if you want to keep a clean surface, but you have some you know, flat work that you have to do. I just always keep one right underneath. So I'm going to go ahead and use my punch tool just to start getting these flat and then moving them into the shape that I want. When I'm stabbing these or punching these, I'm not going so hard that I'm forcing this into the mat. I'm just very gently giving it a light punch. It is going to stick on the surface. With these feet, I don't even care if it picks up the black that's underneath from the wings earlier, or the dark brown, because it just gives it a little bit of character. It's almost like its own shading. It's not going to pick up very much of it, but if it does, that's totally okay. Basically, I'm just making here a piece of felt for each of these. I'm just going to keep turning them over and stabbing. Okay, so once I get a pretty good, like you can tell that it's felted. If I wanted to pull it apart, I could. It's not completely felted, but you can really see this is a really good, almost like a pre-felt that you would purchase at a felter's shop or a supply shop. So, you know, it's thin, but it's together. But it's, you know, I could tear it if I wanted to. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my 38 and I'm going to pick the front, which really at this point does not matter. And I'm going to, in my eye, my mind's eye, I'm going to divide it into 3 toes. So I want 1 toe here, 1 toe here, and 1 toe there. So I'm going to come in between the toes, and I'm just going to put my needle and I'm going to hold down where the toes are going to be, and in between the toes I'm going to pull back with my needle and just stab that in. Then I'm going to do that again over here. So here's the toe, here's a toe, and I'm going to just pull in the center and stab that in. Now at this point, this definitely does not have to be perfect. You can see here, I almost on the ends don't really even have a full toe. That's okay. I'm just going to pull this up, like fold it up to create that toe. And same thing over there. I'm just going to fold it just to create the toe. All right. So I'm going to start working in the center of the 2 toes here. And I'm just putting my needle right in the center and I'm pushing it towards the foot. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Try to go into the wool and not so much into the mat. It's hard to do. I'm actually hitting the mat. But in a perfect world. Okay, so now that I have it like that, I'm going to go ahead and punch it again, gently. Turn it over and just keep doing this. I'm going to do it maybe another 5 or 6 times. You can see right now the toe is not perfect, or the toes are not perfect. And that's okay. We're going to use scissors to shape them up. So we just kind of need 3 points right now. And because we're using the scissors, that's why it's important to get this really super felted. We kind of want almost this consistency, the same consistency I have in this felted piece right here. This little sheet. Just do it until you feel like it's a really good consistency. It's not gonna tear apart. If you want to add some more coloring to the top of that, you could as well. Okay, and let me just finish this foot for you and I'll speed the other one up. I'm going to go ahead and take my scissors now and I'm going to shape the foot. So you can see how nicely that cut. And I'm just shaping the toes. I just need 3 toes. And there we go. I'm going to go ahead and just trim it. I want to make sure that this is not too long here. And then I'm going to use my 242s just to finalize the outside edge of all this. Make sure it's nice and stiff. And there you go. So that is a really good little foot. We're going to adhere it to the bottom in just a moment. But until then, let me go ahead and do the other one for you all sped up. Okay, so these are made. I'm going to put this back. And let me grab my owl. Normally what I do is I place them on the bottom and then I turn the owl over and I look from the front to kind of see how it's going to look. So your view would be this way. I get it where I feel they're going to look, you know, good or kind of natural. You can put them off to the side like that, or you can just put them one on the other, you know, right next to each other. And then once you get it where you want it, go ahead and take your 36, because we want to adhere it to the bottom. You can do this flat on the mat, but I'm turning it so you can see. And go ahead and do the outline of this V right here on the bottom of the feet. If you don't quite have a V, that's okay. You didn't do anything wrong. It's just how yours turned out. And then kind of go up into maybe half of the toes. All with the 36. Okay. I always like to just take my 242s and go over it. It's just a habit I got into, and it really does tend to make everything much smoother. So that's how he looks from the front. And then I'm just going to go back to my primary color that I had on here, which was the milk chocolate. And I'm going to go ahead and just put a little tuft of it right where the feet meet the body. You can go ahead and do this with your 242 so it'll be nice and smooth. Doesn't matter here if it's perfectly round, it's just supposed to be a gradual movement from the bottom of the owl to the feet. Okay. All right. So now all we have to do is check him out, see if everything is the way that we like it, and just use your 242s or your punch tool and just go over the entire surface of the body to smooth him out. I'm going to do that for you, but I will speed this up. All right, well, there you have it. We have our 3 little owls. Each of them has their own little personality. They're super cute, and they all have a little bit of a different design. This guy didn't get a tail or feet, but he will. And I really hope you liked that. So if you did, stay tuned, because we are going to be doing, the next one will be this little chicken. And then we're going to do a little cat. Like I said, they might not be exactly like those because I tend to change up a little bit every time I do something. But you will definitely learn how to make a chicken and a cat on a dryer ball, just like we did this owl today. Please give me a like if you really enjoyed this content, and also subscribe. Take the time to subscribe so you'll be informed on when the new videos are being released. If you want to find me on Facebook, my Facebook is More Fun with Felt. There are spaces in between the words. Just search it like that. And please give me a tag and let me see what you've created from the video today. I would absolutely love to see your work. And if you have any questions, please leave a comment below and I'll be happy to get back to you. If you are a brand new absolute beginner, be sure to go check out my beginner videos. I do have some practice drills, also some beginner videos that just really take the time to teach you just so much about needle felting. So thank you for visiting with me today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon.